I want to thank the media, TV, radio, print media. Thank you for continuing to get our messages out to our viewing, listening, and reading public. I appreciate that. Big shout out to Focus Springfield. You've been invaluable to continue to keep city government and public meetings and information out there. I want to thank our sign language professionals. Thank you very much for being here. That's much appreciated. And I want to make sure that I thank my cabinet heads and rank and file and their families. Tested and true, as I say all the time, for a number of natural and man-made disasters. I appreciate the continued efforts. And I want to thank each and every one of you, the viewing public, the residents of the city of Springfield, and the business community, for your continued patience, understanding, cooperation, and collaboration. I know there's fatigue, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we have to continue to stay vigilant. I'd also like to, for those of the Muslim faith, happy Ramadan. That'll be starting, I believe, this evening. A big shout out to UMass Hockey, which we have a UMass satellite campus down here in the city of Springfield, winning that national championship, Division I. They really took it to St. Cloud State, 5-0. Hell of a Cinderella story, because they were underdogs going in and were down 4 valuable skaters for the semifinal game. But as Coach Bill Belichick says, next man up and do your job, and they did. So congratulations, UMass. Just a quick update on Oasis Food Bank. They are still temporarily at Central High School. That'll be transitioning. There'll be an announcement, but there's still Fridays at Central High School. We're servicing about 3,500 families there with the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts, Sedesco, and others. We appreciate that. I think their spot might be up at the, tentatively up at Sears, East Seal Mall, but that'll be announced. They're still at Central High School. They are in need. John Foley indicates to me that they are in need of volunteers. And if there's groups or individuals that want to volunteer, please contact my chief of staff, or the city's chief of staff, Tom Ash, and we'll facilitate that. I know many times they have a tremendous amount of volunteers. I know police and fire volunteer too, but if you can, that would be fantastic if you could do that. On the stat sheet, we have now moved up to COVID-19, total confirmed cases, 20 since the start of this ordeal, 20,336. Monthly, 730. Weekly, 521. There was a little bit of an uptick. We're still in the red, technically in the red. We can't be laxed. So please, you still need to wear the masks when you're out and about, or in your workplace, or here in City Hall. Please wear your masks. Helen and I continue to work to expand and open more vaccine neighborhood sites. Last week, Health and Human Services did vaccinate about 1,710 Springfield individuals. Total about 6,610 have been vaccinated Springfield residents. That's on top of the mass site, curative, Governor Baker's site at the Eastfield Mall. We also, Governor Baker, again, this is on the state level, he does have a program for homebound individuals who need the shot, and that's on the website for the state. Our telephone banks continue. They've been rave reviews, and I'm very thankful to the Health and Human Services staff, Elder Affairs, Sandy Federico staff, libraries, Molly Fogarty's on setting up for the vaccine shots. People are very appreciative of that, walks them through everything. Our senior meals, homebound senior meal deliveries continue. Partnering with Director of Operations Patrick Leonardo, AMR. Very, very appreciative of that partnership. The Stop the Spread still continues at the Eastfield Mall, Governor Baker's. That continues. Also, on the people who have passed, deaths, and again, our thoughts and prayers and sympathies and encouragement go out to the affected families. Commissioner Colton-Harris indicates to me no reported COVID deaths. We hope it stays that way, but you never know. So that leaves the total at 239 Springfield residents who have lost their lives due to COVID-19. Of that, 98 are white for 41%, 52 are black for 21.7%, 82 are Hispanic for 34.3%, 7 are Asian for 2.9%. Long-term care facilities, thank God, it's pretty much stayed stagnant. 60 have lost their lives. Residential is 179. And I also wanted to bring to the attention for those, and I hope there are no more deaths pertaining to COVID-19, but for those who are going through it right now, FEMA has a site in which COVID-19 funeral assistance, if needed. And the COVID-19 funeral assistance line, we'll get this on my websites too. Applications begin April 12th, which is today. Phone number is 844-684-6333. And we'll get this information on my websites, especially our COVID website, for those who unfortunately have lost a loved one and need assistance. FEMA is offering COVID-19 funeral assistance. We're very appreciative of that. Some updates. Budget hearings are done. I want to thank all my cabinet heads. I want to thank TJ Plant, my CFO, and Lindsay Hackett, and Melanie Adobe, our budget director. We were able to get it all done in 1 week, and now we will put it together, and we will then subsequently have an announcement of what the budget will entail, and then we will get it over to the City Council early again, so they can do their due diligence and review it, and hopefully we can get that passed at an early date, working with the City Council. Again, very appreciative of Chairman Neal, Congressman Neal Ritchie. We did that press conference on the American Relief Act, the stimulus relief package. We are awaiting a word from his office when my financial team with the Treasury Department to really drill down and crossing the T's and dotting the I's on how we're going to expend the money on the 6 categories I put forth for the residents and business community of the City of Springfield. We had, I'll save this for police. On another good note, I spent some great quality time with my alma mater, the High School of Commerce football team, and Putnam Vocational Technical football team Saturday, in a beautiful Saturday afternoon at Central High School for the Mayor's Cup Trophy, and spent practically the whole game there. And I want to thank Coach Harrison, Commerce. He's done a hell of a job with them. Coach Torres of Putnam was there with Athletic Director Dwayne Early and principals Georgie Johnson and Paul Neal. And my alma mater took it to Putnam 26-6. And it was great to present that Mayor's Cup trophy and be able to see the guys and see their parents, unfortunately, on the other side of the fence. But it was good to be out and about. And I want to thank Commissioner Helen Colton-Harris and Jeannie Clancy, the nurse, head nurse, school department, for working that out. The testing has been very good, and the student athletes I tell them to continue to excel on and off the field. So that was very, very good. Helen and I will be with Congressman Neal this afternoon. We'll be touring another neighborhood site for vaccinations with Tanya Barber, the CEO of Caring Health Center. I believe we'll be at the X for Caring Health Center later this afternoon. Tomorrow, the Buccaneers, the day Korean War vets, the 65th Infantry. I'll be doing that with City Councilor Gumacito Gomez, the flag raising, 65th Regiment, Infantry Regiment. Victor Rosario and Antonio Morales are still alive. God bless them. And we'll be awarding them some. Bishop Byrne has invited me. I'll be at St. Michael's Cathedral this week to note the flag raising on child abuse awareness. That is so very, very important that we continue to eradicate that. Also, on a good note, through Link the Libraries, they've been a great friend to our school system. Lori Flynn, I'll be doing a Facebook Live read aloud, I think Thursday evening, and I'm going to read the home run for Bunny Talaferro, the Legion team that in 33, that was really ahead of Jackie Robinson, ahead of Dr. Martin Luther King. They did the right thing when they wouldn't allow a Bunny Talaferro, black ball player, to play for the Springfield team. And the Springfield team packed up and said, he doesn't play, we don't play. And they did the right thing at a very difficult time. Eastfield Mall continues with the Mass Military Support Foundation. I'll be out there this coming Saturday. 2 million pounds of food that we've been able to give to veterans and their families in need. For next week, due to the observation of the Patriots' Day holiday, this COVID press conference will be Tuesday, April 20th, not Monday, Tuesday, April 20th. Now for the police update. Commissioner Clapper indicates to me only one is down with COVID. We had a difficult weekend. And I'm not going to mince any words here. The dirt bike detail continues in working with our partners in the state police, the air wing, the eye in the sky we call it. We grabbed 10 more dirt bikes and made more arrests. And one of those arrests, though, one of those miscreants, as I call them, tried to run over one of our cops. Tremendous restraint shown by that officer on that arrest. Very difficult when you have to speak to a family that's been affected by gun violence. And this weekend I had to. A mother of a 10-year-old female, innocent juvenile, that was struck by gun and gang violence on Worthington and Armory Street. Arrest has been made. Lo and behold, those individuals that were arrested and tracking are out on warrants, out on bail. You tell those judges, you make that phone call to that mother. And when she said to me, Alcalde, she's in pain. My daughter's in pain. And I'm getting sick and tired of whether judges or others saying, bails to make these individuals come back to court. Well, they're coming back to court after they're committing more crimes. Tell that to that mother. Tell that to that mother if she got out of the hospital. Innocent. 2 officers, Longview Street, Sunday. Another person out in a warrant, gun charges. What's he try to do? Run over my cops. Those cops got hurt. Those cops had to go to the hospital. Tell those judges, make the phone calls to those cops and those families, as I did last night. You saw what happened in Hartford. a 3-year-old. God rest her soul. In Boston, Dorchester, a grandmother. And you go on and on and on. But that Friday, gang and gun violence. All the individuals involved, repeat violent offenders, known by the police, let out by our court systems. Innocent. Commissioner Clapwood and I have been saying this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is what's going to happen if these individuals are not locked up. And it's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. I also spoke with Brother Johnny Vernon early Saturday morning as we continue our outreach on the street operations to try to quell this gun and gang violence. But we're making the arrests. But our court and judges are letting these individuals who are perpetrating violent crimes with guns, please, in the court system, what if that was your child? Can't have it. All for rehabilitation, the crimes of people that are not hideous or violent type crimes. These individuals don't get it. So to the court system and the judges, you talk to that mother of the 10-year-old and have her say to you, El Palve, she's in pain. You talk to my officers, the ones that were run over and had to be hospitalized, trying to get another person on gun charges that was already arrested on warrant. And I don't want to hear, again, it's for them to come back to court. They're coming back to court after they commit more crimes. They can't get to you, but they can get to me. And I'm sympathetic to it. And I'm going to keep fighting to do something about it. We also continue with our DOJ meetings. And hopefully we'll come to a mutual agreement. And I'm sorry to get so emotional, but when you're on those phone calls and when you see those people that have been affected, that's what our judges and court system need to see and know. Fire Department, Commissioner Calvi indicates 2 are down with COVID. Hopefully with some of this rainfall we're getting, it's going to help out the fire department with the brush fires. Commissioner Dispatcher Week. We want to congratulate and thank all our dispatchers for their dedicated efforts. MCDI again, and that's why I want this property down yesterday. Mr. Calvi working with Commissioner Clapwood. 3 juveniles arrested on top of the roof of MCDI trying to commit arson again. And if, God forbid, anybody gets hurt or killed, the DCF will not allow us to speak to those individuals. Unbelievable. So again, this goes back to family. But it's coming down. No matter for others who want to keep it up, it's coming down. No, the neighborhood does not deserve that, to live with that there. DPW Chris Signoli indicates to me 1 is down with COVID. Again, it's pothole season. Please call 311. DPW has crews, they'll get out there. Yard waste pickup continues. Street sweepers are out there. Still in need of CDL drivers, and traffic light technicians are needed. Superintendent Warwick indicates to me we are now over the 7 million mark. 7,014,261 meals have been served since the onset of this COVID-19. We're still doing after school sites. I think at 10 or 11, 4 to 6 p.m. at schools. The school reopened hybrid went very well. Congratulations to all involved. Great news in our school committee meeting Thursday night. Highest rates of improvement in the state. Graduation rates are now up to 77%. Dropout rate is down 3%. I believe when I took over as mayor, we were hovering at about 50% graduation rate, and I think around the 12% dropout rate. And it really escalated with Superintendent Warwick coming in 2012. That's good news, and we want to do even better. Finance, my CAFO, TJ Plant, indicates to me, since this has started, deficit of $7.8 million. I'm running about almost $3 million, 2.9 something million deficit for FY21. Deficit in grant spending for the residents and business community, City of Springfield, stands at $36.3 million. $27.7 million has been pawned off in grants. Still running a deficit of $8.6 million. Budget hearings are done. We await the meeting with the Treasury officials on the specifics on how the relief and stimulus money can be spent. We're very thankful to Congressman Neal for facilitating that meeting for me and my financial team. Facilities and parks, Pat Sullivan reports to me, and he's attending other duties today. Nobody's down with COVID, which is fantastic. Again, Helen has been a stalwart on neighborhood sites, working with Pat Sullivan. We are now looking at the Greenleaf or Claudio Concepcion Center and the East Forest Park Library for our next sites to come online as long as we keep getting those vaccines. Pat continues to put together summer programs. You might see some lifts out here today. The City Hall window work or review is starting today. EchoDev, Chief Development Officer Tim Sheen indicates to me that nobody is down with COVID. That's fantastic. He's been outstanding with the federal and stimulus relief package review and getting that out. RFP for technical small businesses is out, so please apply for that. CDBG grant money will be moving out. We're getting ready to put that out. We're going to be able to help nonprofits this year, which I'm very happy about. We're also going to try to do something unique. Chris Signoli said he needs CDL drivers. Everybody needs CDL drivers. The CDBG money, Director Sheen is going to initiate with Mass Hire and Dave Cruz some type of CDL training program, which will be good. Wayfinders need another influx of money to continue to help our residents pay their mortgage, rents, and utilities. So we gave them another $300,000 to help our Springfield residents pay their mortgage, rents, and utilities. On the HR, labor, and law docket, again, the DOJ meetings continue. The reviews of the marijuana, recreational marijuana, cannabis, will be starting shortly on those RFPs. With that, I will turn it over to Dr. Mark Kerouac, the CEO and President of Bay State Health System. Deeply, deeply appreciative of all his continued efforts. And today he will also report for Dr. Robert Roos out of Mercy Hospital. Dr. Kerouac, thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you as always, Mr. Mayor, for holding these events and to the media for covering them. Our current surge is still going strong, unfortunately, with slowly increasing cases, both in our country and in our state. The UK variant is now the dominant virus that's being isolated in Massachusetts. Across the world, we're coming up on 3 million deaths. Surges are going on in some parts of Europe, South America, and India. And it's relevant to us because the more churn and replication of the virus that happens, no matter where else in the world, the more likely it is that we're going to see brand new variants. Just look at the names that each of them carry: South Africa, Brazil, United Kingdom. In the United States, new case rates are sort of inching up. They were in the 50,000 range for every day for a few weeks. Then running averages got up into the 60s. The last couple of days, they've been in the 70s. We are seeing surges that have been well publicized in Michigan, but also rising cases in the northern Midwest, even New Hampshire and Maine, closer to home here, as well as Colorado and Florida. The surges that we had been watching a few weeks ago in New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York seem to be declining as well, which I guess is a good sign. There also is a continued clear decline in the number of deaths per day, down from about 1,000 a day to now less than 700. And this, of course, indicates greater immunity in the elderly and more likely that cases are being spread among younger individuals. Hospitalizations are still at about 50,000 across the country. In Massachusetts, new cases have been coming down slightly these last few days, from about 2,000 a day on average to 1,700, but deaths have come down a lot. They were in the high 20s to around 30 a few weeks ago, and now are down to an average of about 8 a day. Hospitalizations have been flat at about 700, test positivity rates at 2.2%. The areas in the state that are surging are most importantly the Cape and Islands, the South Shore, the Merrimack Valley, and sadly, Hampden County. Hampden County is number 3 in new cases and is rising slightly. The peak age group across the state for new cases is in the 20 to 40 range, which of course indicates the under-vaccination of that particular group. As far as hospitalizations, that age group of the 50 to 60 range is still what we're seeing. We've gone from 14 towns about 4 to 6 weeks ago that are in the red to then 55 and now 77. Springfield is one of about a dozen towns in Hampden County that are in the red zone. Bay State health numbers have crept up into the 70s and 80s these last few weeks after a low of 48 1 month ago. This morning we're at 76 inpatients across the system, 67 at our Springfield campus, 9 in our community hospitals, and 14 in critical care. That is flat to slightly down compared to last week, but it probably reflects the fact that the length of stay for some of these younger patients is lower, and so they're out of the hospital quicker. The test positivity rate I was disturbed to see has actually popped up to about 6.45%. We had been in around the 3.5% range, and this is a leading indicator. Remember, we've been around the block a few times with this pandemic, so you know that you first see an uptick in test positivity, then in hospitalized cases, then in critical care cases, and then in deaths. So it certainly doesn't look like things are going to be tailing off anytime soon based on that test positivity rate. I did want to, and I've not shown you this for a while, I did want to give you a sense of perspective about where we're at with respect to the pandemic. So this is the curve at Bay State Health. Across the bottom, you'll see time, and the blue bars are the number of patients that are in the hospital. The 2 top peaks are at about 180. The orange bars are the number of people in the ICU, and the red line is the number of new cases each day. So you'll see the first epidemic, the first peak was in that April to May of 2020. It went up very quickly, came down somewhat slowly. Then there was this big fat curve here, November, December, and January, roughly 12 weeks with over 100 patients. And here's where we're at right now. This is this little peak, a sort of mini surge that we're dealing with now. So while we're calling it a surge, it's nowhere near as big or as bad as it was before, but it's not over yet. It's not clearly yet going down. The average age, as I had mentioned, of new cases is coming down, and as was reported in both local and national news, our chair of pediatrics, Dr. Charlotte Boney, has been saying we're seeing more cases in children these days, including the systemic immune syndrome that's been described with COVID. This has largely been linked to children and adolescents and after-school activities or household spread. Dr. Roos shared the numbers from Mercy. These have fluctuated between 9 and 16 this last week. Today they have 9 with 5 in the critical care. They too have seen an increase in their test positivity rate to 5.79%. Neither Mercy nor Bay State has any concerns about capacity. So let's shift gears to vaccines. We are 1 week away from the vaccine being available to all adults over 16, so we're not going to have to consult any lists anymore in terms of who is eligible, because it's going to be every adult just next week. Vaccines are picking up pace across the country and across the state, which is good news. Unfortunately, we did have a setback last week with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine One of their suppliers of the materials they use to make vaccine had a contamination event which caused them to lose 15 million doses. There are another 60 million doses that are sort of in limbo pending an FDA review of the plant to see if they too were involved. For the mRNA vaccines, though, Moderna and Pfizer, they have been increasing production, and production's on course to double over the next month or two. And I strongly believe that Johnson & Johnson is going to come back online as well. As a country, we're still vaccinating 3 million a day, which is a very good pace. In the United States, we've given out 117 million first doses, and that means that 45% of adults and 78% of seniors have some level of protection. 71 million have been fully immunized, that's 27% of adults and 60% of seniors. Pfizer has reported some good results in adolescents between the ages of 12 and 15, and has indicated their intentions of applying for an emergency use authorization for this age group. Massachusetts has administered 4.5 million doses, 2.9 million folks receiving at least one dose, and 1.8 million fully immunized. Remember, the target here is 4.1 million Massachusetts adults. That would get us to 80% of the adult population, which they think would be herd immunity. The rate is increasing over this last week. I was happy to see it was on average 74,000 doses a day over the last week. The supplies that the federal government has given are still being given out proportionately by population, but because of things like the Johnson & Johnson business, it's still kind of unpredictable from week to week. Bay State Health continues to receive our weekly allotment of about 4,500 doses, both first and second doses. That's Pfizer and Moderna. Last week, we got a sudden surprise. We got about 5,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which we were thrilled about, and then needed to scramble to get that into arms. So we had a number of pop-up clinics contacted. These, by the way, were only for people in Hampden County. The state got a sudden shipment of 100,000 doses and decided to give them out to the areas where they were seeing the greatest number of cases. And so Bay State's additional 5,000 was part of the allocation to Hampden County. So we held a couple of pop-up clinics. Actually, one is going on right now. So if you want to get in go to our website, it's between 9 and 12, so not much time left there. But we still have a lot of this Johnson & Johnson left that we want to get into arms over the next week or two. So keep your eye on our website, baystatehealth.org, to see if there's a pop-up clinic coming near you. Sorry I don't have more detail on that, but we're going to be publishing it as soon as we can stand them up and get them going. We expect this is going to be a one-time allocation, and at least in the short run, we're not expecting more J&J coming our way. We're continuing to do our usual sub-allocation to both our inner-city health centers in Springfield and to Greenfield. Mercy continues to receive its usual allotment of 1,100 doses a week of Pfizer, and they're reporting no change in vaccine operations at their clinics. The federal government, is worth noting, are still giving a lot more of the increased production to the retail pharmacies. So that is mostly Walgreens and CVS here in Massachusetts, but also places like Rite Aid, Costco, and some of the supermarket-based pharmacies. I also wanted to share with you that Bay State is going to be launching a major public information campaign next Monday, the 19th, when all adults are going to be eligible to deal with, so that we can deal with vaccine hesitancy. It's going to be featuring Drs. Doreen Walker, Esteban del Pilar Morales, and Amanda Westlake. All three of them are Bay State infectious disease physicians, one black, one Latino, one pregnant. This campaign will include print, both African American and Latinx newspapers, as well as more general circulation, billboards, TV, radio, interviews, town halls, etc. I'm grateful that we have so many authentic clinical voices willing to share their own decisions. I would remind people that 95% of doctors across the country who are eligible decided to get the vaccine, and so that should tell you something. So with those three, plus Drs. Artenstein, Paez, and Dr. Hessler, I am now number 7 on the depth chart for infectious disease doctors from Bay State who are getting in front of cameras, and I couldn't be more thrilled. We're also happy to continue to work with the Vax Force and Commissioner Carlton Harris's efforts to get the word out about hesitancy. So I'll conclude by saying, remember, there's a lot of virus around. If you're not vaccinated, this is no time to relax on the public health measures as far as masking, social distancing, and avoiding crowds. Particularly if you've got kids doing after-school activities, I would be very careful about the before and after activities, the carpooling to the soccer game, the pizza party afterward. That's oftentimes where these transmissions occur. Try to either avoid them or to keep them safe with good ventilation and masking. If you're already vaccinated, be aware that the CDC has said it's safe to be with other vaccinated folks in social settings without masks or distancing, or to go to single households where the younger folks have not yet been vaccinated. So think grandma and grandpa going to visit the grandchildren. They still recommend everybody wear masks and observe distancing in public places. The vaccine is not 100% protective, although it's nearly so, as well as in larger gatherings. I hope everyone is going to consider registering for the vaccine in the next week or two. That would be any of a number of websites, mass.gov, the Bay State website, the Mercy website, the various websites for the pharmacies, or dialing 211 and getting some help with the vaccination. Finally, let me just mark an anniversary. It was a year and 2 days since the first so-called Code Rocky at Bay State Health, which is a custom that's been picked up across the country. When a patient is successfully discharged with COVID, you'll hear the theme music from Rocky overhead, and anybody who's free comes down to give a round of applause to a patient leaving the hospital. We've had the pleasure of doing this 2,500 times over the last year, and we hope, thank you. And we hope to be able to retire it very quickly, but a lot of that depends on the willingness of everyone to get vaccinated and to stay safe in the meantime. So I guess I will stop there. Mr. Mayor, do you want me to take questions now?
I was just curious, there's some confusion about what defines as fully vaccinated, that it varies from vaccine to vaccine, that some of them might be longer. The CDC, I know it's 2 weeks, but that some of them might be longer, or maybe a little bit less, and Moderna or Pfizer. I wonder if you had any, knowledge or thoughts on what the actual definition of fully vaccinated is, and then which dose of that.
Yeah, when any of us is challenged with a vaccine, some foreign protein we haven't seen before, it takes 10 to 14 days to make an antibody response. Those antibody responses are never 100% effective, but they may be largely effective. Things are much quicker if you're seeing a challenge from something from a protein you've encountered before. And so basically, if you were, let's say, recovered from COVID, and then 3 or 4 months later you're going to go get your vaccine, within 2 days you'll see a pop in terms of the antibody. So I think the 10 to 14 day time window is a reasonable time to look at, responsiveness for any vaccine challenge.
And I was wondering if I know that certainly has been in the news a lot because they've been leader of vaccines, but they've also had some increase in cases as well. Is there any, and I know they are still primarily using the Chinese vaccine there, is there, if you're familiar at all with the effectiveness or efficacy of that vaccine, why that may or may not be a factor in why they're not doing as well as they are, whereas other countries that are heavily vaccinated?
Right. Yeah, I think that it's hard to comment on the effectiveness of the Chinese vaccine in the absence of independent testing of its effectiveness, so I wouldn't go there necessarily. So I think we're going to need more experience and more data before drawing any conclusions there.
And basically, I know we're only in one country in the world that's been very heavily vaccinated, which is Israel. But to the extent that we can extrapolate any
I think Israel, the question of, what can we say about Massachusetts given other successful countries? I would put England up there with Israel. And the United States is about in third place in terms of rapidity, though. So we've actually been able to get ourselves in gear and get people vaccinated. Israel is opening up its country. People are going to large sporting events and restaurants and all that sort of thing. And they've been able to do it fairly quickly because they pre-purchased a large amount of vaccine and they have a highly organized health system and public health infrastructure. The United States has kind of, had that storehouse of vaccine and has now been able to get it out into arms. So I'm optimistic that we might be there as well. I keep saying that I'm still optimistic about the backyard barbecue on the 4th of July. I think we may get there. Yes, Audrey.
When it comes to the children and the rise in pediatric cases that you're seeing, can you instruct a little bit more sort of on what you're seeing in terms of symptoms from these kids and how old they are?
Yeah, the symptoms in children are parallel those in adults. It's like a flu, fevers, aches, pains, usually some cough. That usually won't do much more than have you go to bed and just wait it out at home. If people start getting severe cough or shortness of breath, they may actually get a bit of a pneumonia and have trouble getting oxygen to their system. There is a unique so-called inflammatory syndrome that children get, where their immune system gets riled up and can cause organ damage like kidneys, livers, as well as brain. And that's a very serious issue as well. That's relatively unusual, but seen pretty much in kids. Yeah, I think our Dr. Boney noted that just this month, we have seen 5 kids hospitalized and 1 had that severe syndrome requiring the ICU.
And your concern is this before school and after school activities plus maybe the
Yeah, the epidemiology interviews and studies and contact tracing they've done suggest that it could be after school, either clubs or sports activities. But I think moms or parents have to be aware of the stuff that goes on before and after those events as well. So let's say you were doing a carpool, people ought to wear masks, put the windows down if you can, that sort of thing. So people need to be aware that it's the whole thing, it's the before and after as well as the event where they need to be concerned.
Any other? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
one more on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So you mentioned sort of surprising with that shipment and now you're doing vaccine clinics and trying to get it as far as possible. I guess is there any difference in the framework that you set up when you're doing a Johnson & Johnson clinic versus when you're at Pfizer clinic?
In terms of differences, it's much easier because it's a one and done. You don't have to sort of track the person down and make the follow-up appointment, etc. In terms of the side effect profiles and the precautions we use, it's identical for that shot. But the easy thing, if you will, about Johnson & Johnson is that, it's one and done.
And I guess it was the storage, because I know you were running.
Oh, that too. Yes, you're right.
But I guess I was wondering, why not hold on to that for
The Johnson & Johnson is more stable and can be stored in a regular freezer, but what we tend to do is to thaw things out in anticipation of who's coming, and then we have a sort of call or waiting list for usually a few doses that might be at the end of the day. We usually know that by the middle of the afternoon.
Any other questions or comments? Dr. Farrell, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very well, you and your family and staff. Thank you. We're now going to have the update from the Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Helen Kaufman-Harris, who has just done a tremendous job and one of the leaders in the state when it comes to helping us defeat this COVID-19. Commissioner of Health and Human Services, City of Springfield, Helen Kaufman-Harris.
Mayor Simon, thank you very much as always, and thank you for your support. This is the data update, a review of the data for April 4th through April 10th. As the mayor has indicated, our cases are 20,336. Cases by day: Sunday 30, Monday 51, Tuesday 30, Wednesday 134, Thursday 97, Friday 93, Saturday 86, for a total of 521. The cases by age: 0 to 10, 80, 11 to 20, 115, 21 to 30, 115, 31 to 40, 86, 41 to 50, 44, 51 to 60, 41, 61 to 70, 22, 71 to 80, 16, 81 to 92, 91 to 100, 0. Cases by zip code: 01, 4 cases, 1%. 03, 8 cases, 1%. 04, 64 cases, 12%. 05, 55 cases, 10%. 07, 26 cases, 5%. 08, 94 cases, 18%. 09, 119 cases, 23%. 18, 34 cases, 6%. 19, 45 cases, 9%. 28, 4 cases, 1%. 29, 24 cases, 5%. 51, 45 cases, 9%. Cases for the last 6 weeks: February 28, 391. March 7th, 326. March 14th, 310. March 21st, 546. March 28th, 486. April 4th, this current number is 521. Our cases have increased by 35 over the previous week. Cases by age: 30 and under, 59%. That is an increase of 6% from last week of the cases in the under 30 age group. That is critical to note. When I look at the contact tracing list, or the lists that come to us with addresses, we have clusters in our institutions of higher learning. But not only those institutions, but amongst our younger population in general, there is an increase in the cases. The 31 to 50 is 25%, that is down 1%. The 51 and older is 16%, which is down 5%. So the areas of our city, or those age groups that we see that have been vaccinated, we are seeing those numbers in those age group lower, particularly the 51 and older age group. However, again, that stubborn number under the age of 50 is something that all of us should be concerned about, and I am asking our young individuals one more time. This virus does impact youth. The hospitalizations of youth are going up, as Dr. Kerouac said. We have a new variant that is more transmissible in Massachusetts and in the United States. It is the dominant variant, and therefore we are seeing that in our case numbers as they continue to rise. Household clusters. We are also witnessing many clusters in household based on address. Once again, we ask you to take those public health precautions. Wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask. If you are in your household with someone who does not belong in your household, that you are not interacting with in your environment, please continue to wear your face covers, and please continue to practice social distancing. Cases by race: white 33%, black, African American 19%, Latinx 21%, unknown 25%. Our line graph reveals that in February we were at 2,170, March 1,171, and April to date we are at 730. The mayor indicated that the City of Springfield Department of Health and Human Services has facilitated the vaccination of 6,610 individuals, and we are very proud of the staff of the Department of Health and Human Services, Behavioral Health Network, one of our vaccination partners, Curative, who administered 500 doses of J&J for us last week, Springfield Public Schools and the nursing staff, of course the Springfield Department of Health and Human Services again, and our vaccination partners who are very effective and who are always willing to help us in any way possible. AMR, we thank you very much. We will be vaccinating at the Ray Jordan Center tomorrow evening. I think there are 1 or 2 slots left. Potentially that was at 4 o'clock this morning, so they could be gone. We will also be at Ray Jordan Thursday morning. Behavioral Health Network will be vaccinating as well. Springfield Public Schools, the nursing staff, along with the Department of Health and Human Services, will be vaccinating on Saturday morning. And so we are feeling very good about the fact that we have neighborhood clinics. Patrick Sullivan and I, as the mayor indicated, are looking to expand our sites based on all individuals being eligible April 19. We are looking at Greenleaf, the East Forest Park Library, the J.C. Williams Center we've already toured, so we are comfortable with that site. The Greek Cultural Center we have already toured. We are comfortable with that site. We will be bringing on some individuals that will help us administer our clinics. I want to commend the Springfield Public School staff as well as A.D. Early, Lydia Martinez, Assistant Superintendent, and Jeannie Clancy. They had no positives from their student athletes when they were tested. And if you look at the data across the nation, what you see is sports and after-school sports. Those numbers are going up. Ours did not. These young people were committed to wanting to play, and they made the sacrifice, whatever that was, to assure that they kept themselves safe so that when they were tested, they could get back on that field. I am so proud of our student athletes and what they did. So I just want to thank them and thank their coaches who did an excellent job. Thank you. VaxForce continues to work. Our operations, research, education, DE&I and faith committees are working. We will have a major vaccination event on April the 24th that will bring together all of the interfaith communities, and we will gather and we will vaccinate individuals, and we specifically chose that it be after April 19th, so everyone in the faith community and houses of worship could be vaccinated. AMR has tested 178,524 individuals have been tested. 78,698 of those are Springfield residents, with a positivity of 16,000 512. Again, I am grateful to Patrick, Leonardo, and the entire staff of the AMR. It is important the city and the state is under phase 4, step 1. That does mean that we are opening up more. That does mean that the virus has an opportunity to spread in the community more because we're gathering more. We say all the time, please take the mitigation and prevention efforts that we have asked. We understand that individuals feel safe, and we're glad that people feel safe when they're vaccinated. However, when you are in public, when you are in the workplace, please remember the mask mandate is still in place. That has not changed. And I want to make sure that people understand that clearly, that when you're vaccinated, it's safe to be around another fully vaccinated individual in your environment without a face covering. But if you are in public, again, please make sure that you are following all of the guidance as we have recommended. We continue to hold these briefings to get to you all of the relevant data, all of the relevant information, because it is our hope and our desire that you put us out of business, and you can do that. We want you to get through this virus. We want to get through it together. So we continue to ask you to do the things, and I know we say this over and over again, and some of you have told me when you see me in public, you say, I know, wash my hands, watch my distance, and wear my mask. So the message is getting through, but I'm just hopeful that our young adults in our environment understand how it's important for them to participate in our prevention efforts, because this virus, this new variant, is having a devastating impact on our younger people, and it is being spread. And we want you, young folks, to be safe as well. Thank you, Mayor Sarno.
Thank you, Commissioner Carlton-Harris, and amen. That's absolutely right. We want to be able to discontinue these Monday pressers as soon as possible, and that way you don't have to listen to me pontificate either on that. So amen, Helen. We'll now move to the public safety component of the COVID-19 city and hospital update. And again, the decisions we render or make with COVID-19 is really engulfed, if not any and all decisions made to move the city forward. So it's all encompassing. With that, I will now call up the Fire Commissioner of the City of Springfield, Bernard B.J. Calvin.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. At the Springfield Fire Department this week, we have 2 members down with COVID. They're doing fine. They're home in isolation. This is also National Telecommunicators Week, so this is the week to honor and recognize the fire and police dispatchers and dispatchers in other communities in EMS fields that are the first link in the chain to take all the vital information from everybody and then pass it to the responders. So it's their week, so if you know a dispatcher, congratulate them. The last thing I'm going to talk about this week is the Arson and Bomb Squad, in cooperation with the Springfield Police Department and the Mass State Police Fire Marshal's Office, were able to apprehend 3 juveniles off the roof of the MCDI building, one of them with burglar tools. We went to question these individuals. One of them was in DCF custody. DCF flatly refused to let us talk to this juvenile, and we're at a standstill with trying to get more information on what's going on up there at the MCDI facility. If there is a major fire at the MCDI facility, if anybody is injured or killed, the only one to blame in this case now is the Department of Families and Children, because they are unwilling to cooperate in the investigation of 3 arson fires at that facility. So if anybody's injured, hurt, or killed, or a major fire burns down parts of the neighborhood, There's no one to blame except DCF at this point. That's all I've got for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Calvi, and thank you for your blunt words. We're here to try to solve problems and hinder people from getting hurt or killed. We need cooperation with other agencies within reason to save lives and maybe help out those young individuals too to a better path. With that, I will bring up the Police Commissioner of the City of Springfield, Commissioner Cheryl Clapper, who has done a tremendous job too, juggling a lot of balls in the air, initiatives, changes, reforms, and in keeping our streets clean and safe. And again, overall crime is down 21% in the City of Springfield. The only thing that is up is felony assaults, the gunplay, which you're going to hear me yell into the heavens on that with our court system. And with that, the Police Commissioner of the City of Springfield, Cheryl Clapper.
Thank you, Mayor. The police department is down one officer because of COVID. Friday, about 5:30 p.m., officers responded to Worthington and Armory Streets, drug activity and gang activity at that corner. Apparently there was one gang that was shooting a live video, a rap video, and they were shooting it live, so some rival gang members came by. 14 shots were fired, and unfortunately a young girl was struck in the leg. She's been released from the hospital. A short time later, Springfield police officers located the car, believed to be connected to the shooting. We arrested the driver, 21-year-old Jose Estrada of Agawam, on warrants which included firearms charges. We believe there was another subject, or maybe two, in the vehicle. They're still processing that car, and they're still going over video in the area. Saturday at 6:20 p.m., officers responded to the 400 block of Armory Street, reported people fighting and guns involved. Seems to be maybe a road rage incident in which both had weapons. 2 firearms were recovered. No one suffered any serious injuries. Saturday at 6:15 p.m., narcotics detectives executed a search warrant at the home on Quincy Street, where detectives recovered a loaded firearm with 20-round magazine and 57 rounds of additional ammunition. 22-year-old Kevin Colon Soto of the city was arrested on numerous firearms charges and a warrant for armed and masked robbery. Yesterday at about 11:30, officers approached a parked car that we had pursued earlier in the day and aborted that pursuit. The driver is wanted for armed robbery warrants and including fleeing from the police earlier. Officers exited their vehicle to approach this car. The driver sped off, striking both officers with the open door and dragging one officer a short distance. Both were transported to Bay State Medical Center. Both have been released and are nursing minor injuries, back and neck, stitches for one officer. And the driver's identity is known in that, and we knew he had the active warrants, so he will now be facing some more serious charges in regarding the assault on the officers. That vehicle was also recovered and is being processed, and the warrant squad is out as we speak trying to locate the driver of that vehicle. My best wishes and hope for a speedy recovery to both those officers, young officers that were on the day shift. Again, it's a dangerous situation out there, and people just are not receiving jail time. There's no incarceration involved here, it's very short. And it emboldens a lot of these people to go back out and do it again. And innocent people, young people, and officers are in harm's way. So we say it all the time, Mayor, we still preach what's going to happen, and it's still going to happen. It's happened now in Connecticut and in Dorchester, where a grandmother was struck just sitting on the porch and killed. So please, I don't know what it's going to take. We have had injuries, we have had deaths because of this. So we're doing our job every day, and we only ask that the courts do the same. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Clapper, for Now get an update from the Department of Public Works, and I will bring up Director Chris Signoli. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you very much. The DPW currently has 1 employee down. As I've mentioned over the last few weeks, we have started picking up yard waste. Excuse me, all construction activities have started in the city. Some major projects, water and sewer on Lower Locust Street, as well as the Mass DOT projects, Bay and Berkshire, Berkshire Cottage and Harvey is underway as well. Any issues related to DPW, please call 311. We are still looking for CDL drivers, as the mayor mentioned. The advertisement will be posted again. And we are also still looking for traffic signal technicians as well. We are out doing street sweeping, and on our Facebook page and our web page, there will be maps posted every week that will show where we are and where we will be in the next few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Signoli, you and your whole team. We'll now get an update from our Springfield Public School System. Superintendent Dan Warwick and his team have done a tremendous job. We reopened hybrid, really went well, and again, outstanding news as we continue to climb on graduation rates and dropout rates. Superintendent of Springfield Public Schools, Dan Warwick.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Since closing down last March, we've at our meal sites, and we're continuing to distribute from 11 sites from 4 to 6, so that the kids who aren't back in yet hybrid can have access to those meals. We have distributed 7,014,261 meals. So in a community like Springfield that has food insecurity issues, we're really proud of that work. And congratulations to Sodexo, our partner, and Patrick Roach, who did so much in organizing all that. Just this weekend alone, we distributed 69,984 meals. We reopened schools in a hybrid manner last week. It went extremely smooth, and that was a credit to our outstanding staff and our parents and kids. But kids were happy to be going back into school, and our staff did a tremendous job organizing the environment for safety. Our kids that are now back in are pre-K to 6, high needs SPED, our ELL Life kids, and our vocational kids for their vocational programs only. Starting on 4/26, our 7th and 8th graders are going to come back in hybrid. On 5/3, our pre-K to 5 kids are going to come back in full. So again, an orderly, systematic increase that we can handle it. And then on 5/10, our 7th and 8th graders are going to come in full. Bus service went without a hitch. Great job by First Student. They've been a great vendor of ours. We thought we were going to run into some difficulties with drivers, but they've done a great job rerouting things, so we did not run into any difficulties. High schools, we're still waiting for the state to give a date of return for the high schools. My sense is that's coming last because not mixing the cohort groups is a very difficult challenge at the high school level. And across the Commonwealth, you see the schools that have tried to bring the high schools back. It's not very popular with the kids because in essence it's remote from their classroom because you can't mix the cohort groups. They can't move around the schools like they'd like to. As our health commissioner said, our sports program and Helen Calton Harris has just been tremendous helping us with that. But we did 3 testing and sessions. At our last testing session, we were able to get our Fall 2 sports program back. We tested all the kids and we had 0 positive results. The kids really wanted to get back on the field. We're extremely cautious and they got back on the field, so we're thrilled with that. And our spring sports are going to start April 26th, right after the April vacation. But, real congratulations to our coaches and staff for a great job on that. But our health commissioners precautions with the extra testing has really been what's kept us on the field. Our attendance since we closed down is 92.5% student attendance. Usually this time of year it's 92.9. So in spite of all the challenges we face with the pandemic, the staff again has done a fabulous job keeping those attendance rates up. And chronic truancy, which is up everywhere else in the state, Springfield's down 1%. So again, I think it speaks to the commitment of our staff and our families. Lastly, we had a piece of really good news last week from 2012 to 2020, where we started our first strategic plan. Our dropout rate has decreased from 10 to 3%, a 70% decrease. That's the best improvement in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And our four-year grad rate went from 56.6 to 77%. That's among the best improvements in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we had highlights in some of our schools, and SciTech, which was labeled a level 4 school, great improvement. So their dropout rate went from 11.7% to 2%. Their graduation rate, the four-year rate, went from 39.9 to 85.6%. Again, the biggest improvement in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So great job, very proud of our staff and their commitment. And the best news of all was the improvements in the subgroups. Our African American subgroup used to lag way behind the state. It now exceeds the state and exceeds our aggregate. Our ELL rates have doubled for graduation rate. Absolutely incredible. As well as our Hispanic students and our special ed students. So those subgroups which we watch so closely is where the biggest gains happened, and I'm very proud of our staff for executing our plan on that. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Superintendent Warwick's pretty humble and genuine. He neglects to tell you that, unlike other suburban and rural areas, we don't say no to anybody. Anybody that walks in our system we take, including our drug and alcohol recovery high school, which I'm very proud of, and which we take from surrounding areas to help these individuals and families out. So that's quite a testament. Superintendent Warwick, the staff, administration, teachers, and families. But we want to do even better. Education is the key to everything. Economic prosperity, social equity, public safety. Education. And we're going to keep hammering away on that. Speaking about keep hammering away, I always say Springfield's in the business of doing business, and Chief Development Officer Tim Sheen and team haven't missed a beat even in these challenging times. He'll give you an update on even more initiatives we're looking to do to not only stabilize, but once we defeat this COVID-19, help our businesses really launch out. Chief Development Officer for the City of Springfield, Tim Sheen.
Thank you, Mayor. We obviously are very happy to see more parts of our local, state, and national economy reopening. We do remain concerned about the long-term impact of the virus on the commercial office market, as some national companies have indicated that they will be reducing their office footprint by as much as 40% over time. Locally, the city team is considering ways to keep leases and tenants in place and sustain the valuations to the degree possible, but undoubtedly there will be negative impact. The immediate task is trying to manage the degree of that impact. CDBG staff remains focused on being ready to start the new entitlement grant year effective July 1st. As previously stated, public services provided by local nonprofits will be advanced this year, provided the service being provided is allowed under the existing public health orders at the time of the contract. We were informed by Wayfinders, as the mayor indicated, that the mortgage assistance funding the city had previously provided was running low, and thus we shifted $300,000 of CDBG funding to address that need. Wayfinders has indicated that they have sufficient resources for rent and utility assistance. Again, if anyone finds themselves experiencing housing insecurity, please contact Wayfinders as there is assistance available. Please do not wait until the last minute or an eviction order is issued. It should also be noted that through the American Rescue Plan, Wayfinders will be getting a significant infusion into both rent, utility, and mortgage assistance. This $300,000 was advanced to provide the bridge between the federal funding coming forward. The RFP for direct technical assistance to small business is out and responses are due April 21st. Staff is in the early stages of advancing a program to assist in the training costs associated with licensing requirements for extremely low income persons, with the initial focus being training for commercial driver's licenses. These costs can range between $3,000 and $5,000. Persons with CDLs are currently in high demand, as the Department of Public Works has indicated for a number of weeks now, and clearly in the business sector in general. And the income associated with these jobs is a good one once persons get the required training. So we will be rolling that effort out in the next few weeks, depending on how successful the CDL pilot is. We would then expand to other employment requiring training for professional licenses. We continue to remain focused on understanding all aspects of the American Rescue Plan and now the American Jobs/Infrastructure Plan. These are both significant, and there's a lot in both plans, and we want to make sure that the city capitalizes on every aspect that it can. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sheen. And again, that Wayfinders Fund also is very beneficial in helping out landlords and property owners with their tenants too, because they have bills they need to meet and that have to be paid too. So we're going to continue that. Director Patrick Sullivan is covering another activity for me. I gave you his update. You received the update financially from CFO TJ Plant. Solicitor Pakula earlier in the morning update, he's covering a court proceedings. And Attorney Bill Mahoney, HR Labor, gave an earlier update. So with that, we will open it up to any questions or comments you might have of my cabinet heads or myself. Paul? Helen? Sure. Commissioner Colvin here.
With the vaccinations being opened up to every adult in Massachusetts beginning a week from today, is the task force planning to do any outreach specifically messaging the younger people who are the ones that are now accounting for both the infection review?
Yes, we are working, actually have started to shoot our PSAs, and they are ready. We're working with Focus Springfield to edit them. There will be billboards and other information that is given out. So yes, our marketing plan is concrete. We're moving it forward, and we do have PSAs that speak to the younger population.
So what do you say? What's the messaging like? How is it different from what has been done?
Well, we're using several platforms. We have a tagline that says, I want a shot at. And so what it means is, I want a shot at going to the Mass Mutual Center. I want a shot at. So we've asked young people, what do you want a shot at? I mean, what's important to you in order to memorialize and internalize this as a process? Vaccine you need to be associated with or need to make sure that you are taking precautions as far as your health is concerned. So it really is a tagline working with younger people. Then what we also did was have younger people do PSAs so that they can see their peers and their peers are speaking directly to them. And so we do have younger individuals in our PSAs. The Education Committee for VaxForce has been working with institutions of higher learning to get materials out to them so that we're working together to get that messaging out. Also, we're working to make sure that our businesses are involved in our marketing plan. And so we want to make sure that we're covering all of the sectors who need to be a part of our messaging.
Which institution of higher learning, had a COVID-19 outbreak, or more than one?
There are several, and I'm at this point not going to give the names of the institutions, but it's more than one that is experiencing clusters within their students.
And like how big are the clusters roughly?
The clusters on a weekly basis range anywhere from 15 to 25. So it's a significant number. And what we are seeing is several institutions coming in at the same time. So, for example, one could come from one institution, others from another, but the results are coming in together, which makes us ask the question, are these students interacting outside of their regular student environment? Are there events that are going on that involve many institutions and not just one?
Yes, with VaxForce too, through Axiom Blue, we're also going to be working with social influencers to reach that target younger population too with the tagline. Audrey, go ahead.
I have a question for Superintendent Warwick.
Sure. Superintendent Warwick, Danny, please. And nice story you did, by the way, on the graduation and dropout. Thank you.
Hi, Audrey.
I was just wondering, have you guys given any thought to, especially as it pertains to high school students, I know you're still waiting for that date when I won't be able to back. But have you guys given any thought to doing vaccine clinics in the schools for the students, maybe after school or evening?
We are, yeah, led by our commissioner. We've been using Bowling School to vaccinate folks from the community as well as staff still, because a safe return has a lot to do with staff. So we've been working with the public health commissioner and vaccinating as many folks as we can.
I'm sorry, I meant for students, now that the vaccine is starting.
I'd have to defer, but they're not in the group to get vaccinated yet. But would we look at using the schools? We absolutely would, if that was available. We've got a great working relationship with our health commissioner and my nursing supervisor, so we'd absolutely execute something, and that's something we should be doing down the road. Absolutely.
Superintendent, how have your dropout prevention efforts been affected over the last 12 months by the disruption in person learning?
I think in this pandemic, it's been a real challenge, but it's personal connections. Every one of our teachers reached out to every family, getting our kids back in, and that's been, I think, we have a lot of good strategies, including using data at every level and early intervention, but it's that reaching out to families, staying connected, that personal relationship building that makes a big difference, and being relentless. We don't give up on families, and we offer a lot of alternative programs or alternative strategies like online credit recovery. We open the schools nights, weekends. We have supports like that for kids. And we have 9 alternative programs. So there's always a pathway forward for children and families, and we're always following through and being relentless, making sure we guide them into those pathways.
And so you were able to keep up all of that work remotely for the last 12 months?
Yes, we were. Yeah, and we were very, very pleased to see the data, because we were quite frankly worried about that. That influence, but our staff just did an incredible job.
What would you say is the most important factor in lowering that dropout rate?
I think using data to identify where kids need help, but that dropout early warning system data that we started working was very effective in Chicago, put it in place 8 or 9 years ago, and started looking at the data. Starting looking at the data, quite frankly, first few years we did high school, but then we went down to elementary school and started early interventions in place so kids aren't falling behind, and really focusing on the attendance rate, because some of those early warning indicators you can see are in place, but you have to intervene differently with those families. and making sure we not only had the academic interventions, but the social emotional interventions. So programs like City Connects, where we work partner with health clinics and we have a plan for every student in the school, providing wraparound supports, that made a huge difference.
And you've been able to keep all of that up?
We've been keeping all of it going during the COVID. I think our counselors, our City Connects folks worked very hard with our teachers to making sure, again, we were connected to our families.
Well, just to let you know, at times, and again, family facilitators, parent facilitators, others that will go to the homes. And sometimes, many times, food is being brought there too, or they outreach what's going on, and can we need you back, in school. So that's been quite effective. But Danny started this on the statistics at a younger grade. Where are the red flags? Get on it right away. But so there's still been home visits when they're in need, food, other things that have been brought to these families in goodwill to say, come on, you gotta keep you in school.
Yeah, our staff has been reaching out and making home visits, and it's that relentless effort and commitment to the kids, and it's connections. The kids know, the families know we care, and we're going to have another pathway forward for you. But, in illustrating it, when we started looking at the data, we saw all the kids entering kindergarten were way behind. We now have universal preschool for our kids so that they'll be better prepared for school. So, and we're working, we have all universal full-day preschool for our 4-year-olds, and within a couple of years, we're going to have universal full-day preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds, because the data showed how far our kids were behind coming into kindergarten, and many times that's a bit of a too steep a hill for them to climb. So again, improving those preschool programs, but it's a data-driven, relentless approach.
Superintendent, in the last couple of weeks, there was a report that the Office of Child Advocate released on David Allman in Fall River. And there was some conversation in that report about the school district in Fall River. I was curious if you had a chance to read it and what the school department's been trying to do to try to look out for situations of abuse, in particular, over the past years. It's a tragic situation. I know, a lot of factors going on. I know children and families is principally responsible, but they did mention some things that they thought the Fall River School District could have done better. So I'm just curious what the schools are trying to do, either adapt to the support or just over the past year what it's been doing to try to keep kids safe.
I'm not completely familiar with that, so I'll have to check into that map. But we do have a close relationship with all the agencies. In our City Connects programs, we put really plans together for all of our kids, connecting all the agencies. So we work hard to effectively communicate with all the other agencies.
I'll follow up.
Thanks.
Matt, just to let you know, on those early days, Commissioner Clapproot's team, police were going to.
Oh, I know, that's why.
Yeah, so until they, that's good, just one.
Similarities between Fall River and Springfield,
Right.
so that's why.
Yeah, and I think, once the superintendent, again, has a chance to review, I don't think there's, I think we're ahead of the curve on a lot of things, but COVID-19 has led to a lot of challenges, but Commissioner Clapproot's men and women in blue, many a times, early on, were going to the site to make sure if something negative was going on, police intervened, and then contacted DCF. Any other questions or comments?
Just curious, Mr. Mayor, have you reached out to the administration at all to solicit cooperation in the DCF situation and CDI?
Well, that just came, that was updated earlier this morning, and we'll do that. Again, we're not looking to harm anybody here. We're looking to protect the residents of the area and firefighters and police, and in essence, trying to save these kids too. They realize that what they're doing is absolutely wrong, and they put themselves also in harm's way. So we will do that and reach out and see if they can help out Commissioner Calvin. Commissioner Calvin will give more of a report, and we'll reach out to the individuals that we have to. We respect and understand that confidentiality and rules and regulation laws, but you're talking about even though they're committing the crime, they themselves could be put in harm's way, get hurt or killed. So thank you on that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, again, I'm very thankful to the media, TV, radio, print, for continuing to be here and get this pertinent information out. And again, to my cabinet heads and rank and file and their families, thank you. To Dr. Kerouac, Dr. Ruse, the partnership with the hospital has been very, very important in managing this COVID-19. And to the residents and to the business community of the city of Springfield, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know it's been aggravating. I know that there's fatigue, but we still have to stay vigilant and listen to what Commissioner Helen Carlton Harris has to say. Listen to what Dr. Kerouac has to say. Listen to what Dr. Roos has to say. Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. And eventually we will defeat this COVID-19. So to each and every one of you, good health to you and your families, and go out and have a great day. God bless. Thank you.